Hello guys, welcome back to another video by Plus. So today's video will revolve around a company I would say not in very good light, right? It used to be a company which garnered good light during its IPO, but as of lately there have been news or negative news about the company that has put the company in bad light, and of course the share price has also been impacted. So the company is none other than CTOS. So of course we go through what happened, and then we will also provide some of our own personal opinions, but by no means an advice or financial advice for you to buy, sell, or hold, right? So it's just purely our personal thoughts, right? Take it with a bit of pinch of salt, but also do a little bit of thinking and pondering on your side, lah. So without further ado, let's just go straight into it. So what happened to CTOS Jumbeng? What made the company such a hoo-ha?
Yeah, if you do a quick CTOS as a keyword search in Google, you'll see a lot of things revolving about this 200,000 fine that basically the courts have make a decision and charge it against CTOS. So what is really about? Let's go into some of the news coverage. Let's say this one covered by New Straits Times. So in short, what actually happened? If you wanted to understand uh, the details of it, essentially is because there's one lawsuit covered by a businesswoman. He basically sued CTOS for presenting inaccurate information related to her credit rating and make her actually fail to get a car loan and so on. So when it actually happened is back in 2019.
Yep.
This lady called Sriati applied for car loan, it got rejected. And after further investigation, he found out it's because CTOS give not a good score against her, and then of course the car loan got rejected due to that. And by all
Yep.
means, Sriati play her parts. She made a complaint to the customer support to CTOS saying, "Hey, this is inaccurate. Can you please check on it? And it's currently impacted my car loan applications." So the whole thing that actually happens is technically, eventually the CTOS basically do some investigation, but throughout the complaint periods, the score remain as it is, right? And then it didn't take down the score. He just basically retained the original score until the whole action is done. So because of that, if you
Yep.
go into the details, there's a few things that actually come out by the judge. So because this is quite sensitive, I will go word by word cover in the news. So what the judge basically say he mentioned CTOS main role is to collect, record, hold, and store the information received. In this case, coming from secrets, for example, right? And they are empowered to disseminate the information to the subscriber. In this case, can be insurance agency, can be bank.
Thanks.
They,
Yep.
they need all this information to justify whether they can give out a loan. They need to know the credit rating
Yeah.
by the person that's applying the loan, right? So the key sentence I think that lead to the crash of the share price is basically this particular sentence. So he mentioned, by formulating a credit score, CTOS has gone beyond its statutory function. So from a
Yep.
layman, if you read this sentence, maybe easily you would think, is it means that CTOS cannot give credit score anymore? So why this actually matter for CTOS is because essentially CTOS is a company that revolve around this. They collect a lot of information from various sources and then they populate your details and they basically score it based on some framework. And of course, they make this thing transparent and
Yep.
allowing all the subscriber, in this case, the insurance company, banks, and so on, to use it as a reference to do whatever thing. But again, CTOS always put a lot of disclaimer saying this is something for reference. I am not in any position to basically decide on behalf of my subscriber. It's just a reference, right? So I'll take a pause. This is basically what happened. If you want to know in details, check out all the news. But then, what do you think, Jupan? Is this a killer to CTOS because of this? Oh, something
First
to
of
add on.
all, I think, yeah.
The whole thing that happened is he basically successful. So and then of course the judge basically asked CTOS to pay a fine up to 200,000.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already a
Yeah.
decision made by the judge. I mean, Jupan, you can carry
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
So I think if you want to know more about CTOS, do check out how about the company or what's about the company in the IPO perspective. We'll put a link up there. But I think essentially, if you come back to today's topic, it is true that CTOS main objective or responsibility is to collect, populate, and disseminate. Right? There is no particular instances that points CTOS towards to actually do due diligence to provide a credit rating for be it a company or be an individual. But I think the point of view from CTOS is that since I already got so many information, I can actually come up with a guesstimate. But of course, at the end of the day, it's just the same as how a lot of time we take information, right? So sometimes we just look at a piece of news, we just read the headline, but we don't actually go into detail. Sometimes it's good to be just touch points on certain important things because time is limited. But at the end of the day, I think it tends to create a certain lags. And I think when this issue blow up, then CTOS find themselves in a kind of sticky situation. But then you take a step back and you think about it. Credit rating agencies like CTOS exist everywhere else in the world, and they play an important part within the credit loan or whatever kind of business transactions. Right? Even company between company, companies also purchase CTOS report to know who's a counterparty within Malaysia, because that is where you get a sense of the credibility of the counterparty. So CTOS business model will not be affected, but I think it's just more about how they want to move forward with the current limelight being shown at their business model, particularly from the credit scoring point of view. But I don't know what do you think?
I mean, beside trying to understand what is the impact of this incident and whether they can basically appeal, get back. I mean, all those things we cannot judge because time will tell, right? But essentially, another angle, if you are confident that CTOS eventually will give back the markets because they are the one that monopolize the whole markets. Something to take note is if you look into some of the fundamental information. So this is actually what happened, right? Today, after this thing being announced, basically it collapsed and then it bounced back a little bit after the lunch. So one of the things that I wanted to call out is basically, even with this crash, their PE ratio still is about 24 times, right? So it's not a cheap stock fundamentally, right? Another thing is, after this drop, comparing against the dividend they actually paid out, all the stuff, it's only go up to 2.66%. So by right, when the crash, all this number will actually become beautified, right? But again, with this crash about 13 to 15%, the stock is still relatively expensive in a way from PE ratio perspective. Dividend yield is still not high compared to a lot of other counter. So these are all the number for your reference. But again, if you wanted to capitalize on this drastic change and you think you'll come back someday, probably the range about it just about 15%. It won't magically, because of the lawsuit, they come back. It strengthened the position because they are already very strong. They already dominated the market. It won't because of the lawsuit that make them go from 90% to 95, for example. And even though you go from 90 to 95, it won't make a lot of difference because they still cannot make a lot of difference in terms of revenue and so on. So this is something I wanted to call out, that if you don't know how to justify whether you should make the decision to basically grab something because of the dip in the stock price. Fundamental is always a good reference. So that's why I want to call this thing out. But if you ask me personally, I think no one can actually compete with them in this segment.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of big bank insurance agency, like it or not, they are basically they are big subscriber. So
Yeah.
it's very hard for them to move away. Uh,
Mm.
Even though the competitor may see an opportunity, but there isn't any sizable competitor available at the same time. So usually when this thing happen, if let's say the second in line is about 40%, this guy about 50%, then the second in line will pick up very fast. Right. But it is not the case. CTOS is almost like the only player in a way in this market. So this is something to take note as well. I don't have any other thing to add, but essentially it's an interesting thing, but a lot of people will buy and sell because of news. But when you want to do on this, bear in mind on the risk as well.
Yeah.
Fundamental is always a good reference. Yeah, that's about it from me. Anything to add
Yeah.
before I end the video, Japan?
No, not really though. I think if you're a trader, probably you'll be excited looking for the stock. But I think if you are a long-term long-term investor, I think during the IPO prospectus, we were also a bit hesitant in terms of the company's value proposition and also the valuation that it was asking for. So true enough, I think fast forward to today, even without the incident, I think since 2022, the share price also dipped below its IPO price. So I think it's good to be proven correct just because we were prudent and we were very cautious when we were going through the IPO prospectus of CTOS. So I think that's it for today. Of course, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section. What could have we missed? Are we being biased? Let us know in the comment section. But if you really don't have any and you have enjoyed this brief sharing, do give us thumbs up, right? Hit the like button, turn off the notification button, and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep you notified on the next video when we publish it. So that's it for today. Take care and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.